Yes, good afternoon or good morning, depending on what coast you're joining us from. I want to welcome everybody to today's session introducing Labwise, moving beyond traditional LIMS to meet the next generation in lab operations and quality management. Today's session is going to be approximately 35 to 45 minutes from start to finish. We're going to do a couple of quick house cleaning items. Firstly, questions. We encourage quite a few questions if you like. How we handle questions in the session is please ask the question in the beginning, middle, or end. You can ask it using the question function on GoToWebinar. And at that time, we will bring the question in, and at the end of the session, we will read it out loud, but we won't read your name and we won't read your company. We will only read the question. There will be a copy of the PDF of today's slides made available, along with some screenshots from the Labwise product. We will also make the complete recording available for today's session on demand, and anybody attending today's session will get that email within a few days. Feel free to share that amongst your team. If there's others in the organization that you're with that couldn't make the session, we would encourage you to, of course, share with them. With that, we're going to go ahead and get the session started today. A couple of quick introductions as we go through. We want to first kind of paint the picture of what the Labwise solution is and how it fits into the overall infrastructure of the technology landscape that Zybion lives in. It is basically part and a very central piece to an integrated product portfolio. Labwise is a laboratory-centric business process management solution, and you'll see quite a bit of that when we get in today's demonstration. There's a lot of traditional as well as 100% configurable processes and protocols that can be developed very quickly and rapidly in a very simple user interface in the Labwise solution. It's a cloud-based solution and is central to the overall platform that we deliver that falls under the category of Zybion Laboratory Solutions. There's core applications that we're connecting with, such as Oracle and SAP. There's external links and other collaboration solutions, other databases we're connecting with, archives, of course, and then there's other products within the suite that we're connecting to, most notably, of course, the Pristima product, which is the long-standing, market-leading preclinical software platform that Zybion has been deploying for many, many years, in addition to an analytical solution known as Savant. Underneath all this is the delivery mechanism of the application itself, where it's deployable in both a premise-based as well as a cloud-based deployment. So again, we categorize it as a platform for laboratory business process management, and we hope that's going to kind of carry through as we get into the demonstration today. So at the end of the day, when we define what Labwise is and why we're going through a rather substantial launch of this very unique product, we of course want to be able to very quickly define what it is. It's modular, it's integrated end-to-end BPM solution, or platform, it's probably a better term. It's designed very specifically to support laboratory workflows and implement the functionality that companies need. One of the things that's quite unique about Labwise is it's not a platform that comes with pre-configured workflows out of the box for every possible scenario that a lab is going to deal with. We allow you to implement and select the functionality that your particular laboratory or your particular protocol needs and calls for, based on your own unique requirements. It's web-based, so the UI itself is a web-based UI, but it can be installed on-premise or in the cloud. Out of the box, there's going to be pre-configured workflows designed to support multiple laboratory types, extensible and flexible. So this is a solution that's really capable of supporting custom laboratory workflows. Now, Zybion has been at this for well over 30 years, and we've seen every possible scenario that you can see in a laboratory. And this new solution is really the kind of the culmination of those years of experience and seeing how different labs operate. So we consolidate the functionality which you're going to typically find in many different systems, whether that's a LIMS system, an ELN, quality management, doc management, BPM tools, all of that's being brought into a single platform. We think that's very unique in the industry. Many others in the industry think this is a very unique approach to it, and we're obviously very excited about it, which is why we're running a series of webinars to kind of highlight and focus on this particular solution. Now, there are some unique benefits that come with this. Out of order, I think one of the first things that we're pointing to and what our customers who are adopting this solution are telling us is the overall cost reduction in the IT system consolidation that Labwise brings to bear is significant. In addition to the reduction in the amount of work it takes to string data together from multiple systems, either by implementing an additional data warehouse or working in spreadsheets or otherwise, this cost reduction is significant. There's, of course, benefits on the analytics side of the fence. So there's automated reporting, document control for critical regulated files. There's risk reduction and improved regulatory compliance. This is a system that's bringing in things like compliance and quality management right inside of the protocol and normal laboratory operations solution. There is streamlined compliance monitoring and reporting. There is business process enablement and enhanced efficiencies. When you can pinpoint your exact protocols, you can pinpoint your exact processes that you're going to follow and model that in the software, you're going to gain a lot of efficiency in that. You're not buying a lot of technology that you're not going to use, and you're not buying a lot of technology that's not going to fit into the way that your lab operates. And of course, when you bring many disparate functions into a single system, one of the natural byproducts of that is improved visibility into key laboratory workflows, reduction in cycle times. That elimination of extra work that comes with this type of a platform approach is just going to have that natural benefit. There's a lot of modules associated with Labwise. If you think of what a Labwise type solution is built to do, it's really a platform approach. And on top of this platform, there are modular deployments of this. And these range from everything from doc management to audit management to incident management, some of the traditional quality management functions you would expect to find. Then there's things more traditional to the lab itself, like study registry, animal management, facility, and equipment management. Now today, given the time that we have, this is mostly an introduction into this concept of how Zybion believes a laboratory can and should run from a technology point of view. So we're not going to get into all of these modules, and frankly, there's additional modules beyond just what's on this screen. So we want to focus on some of the kind of the key areas, some of the areas that we think are unique and different, and are getting people excited about this in today's demonstration. And it's with great pleasure that I can introduce today's speaker. Tom Klapmutz joins us as the Labwise product director here at Zybion. But it's great because somebody like Tom is actually managing a product, but Tom's background is not software product management. Tom's background is 20 years of experience in drug discovery and preclinical pharmaceutical research. Education, his degrees are in lab animal science, veterinary technology. Tom is not a software technologist, a programmer, et cetera, or a product marketing specialist. Tom is like all of you on the phone. He comes from your background and really understands the processes that we're dealing with in the labs that are unique to labs. So he has that firsthand experience in the industry. He works very closely with customers to help them configure the product to their specific workflows. And it's all that work that he's done over the years with customers and all that laboratory experience that he's brought to bear, which frankly has culminated in a very unique way to deploy a laboratory operations product. So with that, Tom, if you can just say hello and we'll do a quick sound check. And as we're doing that, I'm going to move to the next slide and get ready to pass the controls over to your capable hands.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do, Tom, is if you could just kind of maybe speak a little bit of the functional overview, and then I'll transfer the controls over to you, and we can kind of go through some of the things that you want to showcase in the product today.
Okay. So the functional overview is just a slide of some different business process that you're probably all familiar with in your operations. So whether you're managing contracts, protocols, employees, suppliers, the system has some core functionality to manage those processes. So realizing major pharmaceutical companies or big corporations may have multiple systems for that, the system can manage all of that for some smaller companies or CROs. Laboratory operations, there we're getting into the preclinical and drug discovery aspect of this webinar, which is animals, equipment, master schedule, protocols, data reporting. And then on the compliance side, the system has compliance functionality for training, document management, audits, deviations, CAPAs. So the main focus today is going to be through a product lifecycle a study life cycle, starting with receiving a study and then going ahead and automating the scheduling and execution of that. So we're going to go into the software, so I already have logged in. And when a user comes into the system, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to open to their page. Because the system is a business process management, it has all the tasks for the individual that's logged in. So again, everything is role-based, so you'll have access to the modules or the functions or tasks based on your role, which again is based on your training. And so here we can just look at some of the features of this page. So under My Task, each item has some statistics on itself. So we have notifications if it's overdue. The system can send email notifications. It has a numbering schema, so you can create unique numbering of documents. These are task-based documents. We have the process, a summary of the task, if there's a due date, the status of the task, the age of the task. So again, you can manage timelines and you can manage your employees as well. So a supervisor has the ability to see their individual employees and where the tasks are. So they can, follow up as to why things are taking so long. Once the task is started, you have the actual start date, and then you have end dates and percentage completed. Again, all the different tasks are based on your individual configurations. There's also a calendar. So if you like a calendar view of your work and your tasks, you can also look at that. So again, hovering over it, it'll give you the task information, who the leader of the task is, the status, the assignment date, and then all the other information. Down here we have processes, and these are processes I can initiate as this user. And so different users will have abilities to start different tasks, such as audits, CAPAs, deviations, writing protocols, writing IACUC protocols. So what I'm going to do is start the process through a study. So we've just received a contract to execute a study. So what I've done is I've created a multi-step study planning and study execution process. With the system, these processes could be partially automated, fully automated, or manual. So I'll kind of cover some of that as we go as well. So here, I've just received a new study at my company, and I would go ahead and launch this workflow. And so here, this would be your company location. You can enter your protocol or project code. Again, data types are configurable, so we have free text, numeric, pick list, those type of things. The nature of study could be the study design, could be a 1-month gavage study. And then when do we plan on starting the study? So we can go ahead and pick on a calendar when we want the study to start. You can attach any documents that are not maintained within the system, such as an external contract or an email or something that you have that's not part of the system. The system is best designed to do all of that documentation through Labwise. So you can create a login for your customers where they can actually create a study request, and all that communication can be managed by Labwise as well. So here we'll go ahead and complete the process, and when we do this, that process has now been sent off to create a new study. Where do we find more information about that study? So we can go into the study registry, which is a listing of all of the studies that we currently have in our facilities. And again, this set of data can be configured to the information that you want to capture. So here's the study that I just initiated. And again, this is now going to demonstrate a partial automated process. So we decided the protocol number, the type of study, and the initiation date. And we see we have a status. Now this study needs to be assigned to a study director. It's been assigned to a site. And so by right-clicking, I have some additional processes I can launch on the same record. And so here, what you can do is maybe a specific individual does the staff assignments. These workflows could be sent to that specific individual So they would have in their inbox, I have to assign study directors to these studies. But again, we're just going to do this as a partially automated process. So now when I click study director assignment, I'm going to get to workflow, and each of the workflows has a little instruction dialog box that tells the user what they're supposed to put in this information. So in this case, enter the study director for the study. So now I can enter an individual off of an employee link within the system, or I can enter a free text. And so what we're doing is we're assigning the study. The information about the study is already pre-populated from the previous workflow. So the project number, the nature of the study, and the study initiation date. Once I launch and complete this process, that study director would get a notification that he now needs to continue working through the study. So again, refreshing the screen, now you can see the study directors populated. And now we're into the state of the study as initiate the draft protocol. So what the study director can do is open up the record, and he can go through and fill in the other fields that are part of the study. The sponsor, the test substance, test system. He can enter protocol details, such as the number of animals that he wants to order for the study. So he needs 100 males, 100 females. You can break down the number of animals per dose group. And he can work on this as he plans to. And he can save it. He can come back in and continue to work on it as he's drafting his protocol. So he can enter more information at any time. Any of the information that's entered is saved in an audit trail. So every time that he's in there, he will have an audit trail of what actions have been completed in the previous session. So instead of writing a Word document and sending that out for review, you can just fill in the workflow. So now that I've entered the number of animals that I want to order, as a study director, I can now launch additional processes. So maybe I can send it to the toxicology management team to assign the technical staff. Or I can send it to the comparative medicine group to order the animals. So again, here if I order animals, this will launch the order animal workflow. And again, we could see the total number of animals have been identified. There's a little note, add additional 10% for the actual study plan. So then we can enter the animals that have been ordered when the actual order is placed. And then where did we purchase the ordered animals from? So again, each of these steps can be assigned to different individuals in your organization. Once you have all of that information filled out, typically you would then take that information and enter it into a data capture system such as Prostima to be able to execute the protocol. You would also send this document out for review and approval. So what you would do, and I have one that I have pretty well defined, is I'm going to look at this study. So this study is completed. I've filled in all the information, all of the details, total number of animals. You can even write the final report information. Now what the system can do for you is it can automatically create your Word protocol. So this is going to automatically populate a Word template document with all the information right from Labwise. So your test article, your study number, your title, everything in blue comes right from the Labwise user interface. The sponsor, we get into the table, total number of animals, animals per group, your dosages, all the information is pre-filled out in your protocol. Once you're done with that, you would then save the protocol into the document management structure of the system. Within document management, we have a full functioning document management product within Labwise. So here we can now send our protocol out for review, approval, and once it's signed, we can distribute it electronically. The system's 21 CFR Part 11 compliant for e-signatures. It can stamp any of the information that you need on the document, such as who approved it, the date they approved it, and then you can go through and modify the document. And so you have a working version. So when you send it out, you can take all of the comments from the review and bring them back into a new working document. With the document, we also have on document properties some additional features where we can link various aspects of your study together. So here we can link your data tables right to your protocol or final report document. Then by highlighting that row, you can open up your data tables. So here's my body weight data. So instead of having your information in multiple different areas, we have it all together. The system again maintains complete document management history. So you have all of the modifications, review, and approvals, version control. So you have all of your versioning with full audit trail. Because everything's in one system, when you conduct an audit on your study and your QA group is looking at the protocol, they will be able to link the findings from the audit directly to your protocol. And so here on the protocol document I have, we have 2 different audits that were conducted, and we have 2 different findings about my protocol. We can also see the status of those findings, if they're closed or open. So if there have been deviations or CAPAs or nonconformances issued against those findings. So that's the benefit and the uniqueness of Labwise, that we have all of the different functional components within one system. Again, QA would only see the QA area, Tox would only see the Tox area, and whatever areas cross-function, those capabilities are already configured within the system. So we can manage SOPs, we can manage your C of A's. The system has automatic annual reviews. So if you were managing an SOP, you can set up an annual periodic review every 2 years for your SOPs. So we can manage all of those documents within the system. IACOOK, pharmacy documents. Bringing all of this information into Prostima, we have the ability from Prostima to be able to look at and manage your documents and your quality. So from within Prostima, I can go ahead and view a document that's maintained in Labwise. So if I bring my protocol document over here, I have the ability to open up a document. This could be an SOP, this could be the actual protocol, could be work instructions. So the protocol is now electronically available to the users in the animal room at all times. No longer do you have to log out or maintain paper notebooks in your animal rooms. One of the key features of the system is being able to enter deviations in the animal room that are immediately sent to the study director. So here I'm in Prostima, if you're not familiar with that software, and I'm in a study called XUGP, and I'm going to enter a deviation. So in this case, animal 67 was not dosed. Deviation reason, animal appeared sick. Now I can define what type of deviation is it. Is it a protocol or an SOP deviation? And then I have a workflow. So you can set the workflow up to either go right to the study director, or it can go to a departmental manager and then to the study director. So in this case, we're going to send it right to the study director. What this feature will do is it'll eliminate any 483s that you may receive for a study director not being notified in a timely manner of a deviation. Because the minute I save this data, it's sent into Labwise, and an email notification was also sent to the study director that there's been a deviation on his study. So if I come back into Labwise, and I come into my non-conformance or deviation area, and I look for the most recent record, there it is. There's the deviation that was sent into the system. And if I look at, here's all of the data that I just entered into Prostima. And again, it's a read-only because the original entry was entered in Prostima. The workflow then goes to the study director to enter his assessment of impact. He can then close it out and finish the deviation, all within a matter of seconds. So again, you have the timestamp of when that deviation was entered, and now you have an email that was sent to the study director. So that's one of the key features of the integration. Coming back into Labwise with the study, we have on the study registry, we can automatically create a master schedule. So if we do a quick query on all of our studies, these are all the studies within the system. The system has readily available query functionality, so I can look at all the studies within 2014. I could look all the studies by a specific study director. So again, here's all by a specific study director. I can look at all the studies that are in draft protocol writing. So these are all studies that are going to be starting in the near future, and the study directors are working on them. So you can manage a lot of different things from the same set of data that's entered into the system. You can look at what studies do I have to assign study directors to. Again, it's all of the same information. We can look at 2015 studies. We can look at a specific date range or a specific compound. So here, if you want to enter a test article, we have the ability to filter just on that specific test article. With all of this information displayed on the table, we can also generate various reports. And I have some configured, so we have a master schedule report. So again, when the FDA shows up, these are the fields that are right in the GLPs required for a master schedule. Your site, your protocol number, nature of study, GLP status, study director, test system, test substance. You can add additional fields if you want on your master schedule for internal purposes, and you can also configure one that's for the FDA so that it automatically generates as a Word document. Again, you just add the additional fields over here that you want to display in the report. You can also query and filter your studies. In this case, I'm looking at studies by specific sponsors. So when I do my preview, this has some pie charts and bar graph functionality as well. So you can look at your different sponsors and see the amount of work that's being done by those sponsors. That same information can then also be filtered by some other criteria, such as study director. So here we can now, just looking at the same data set, let's look at our studies by study director. So we have 3 different study directors, and we can see the percentage of workload. We have a lot of reporting capabilities with the functionality here. That information, again, is specifically on your studies. When we go over to the audits, we can look at audits, and we can do the same thing, and we can do some audit filtering by your study. So looking at the audits, we also have process statistics for your audits. So from the QA perspective, you can look at how many open audits do I have, how many have been completed, how many have been canceled. We have timing, so you have your maximum and average age, and completion process aging. You also have a month count, so you can see the number that were issued per month, the number that are open, and then down here we have the complete life cycle of those audits. You can also change that from audits. We can look at deviations, so we can look at the life cycle on deviations. And so here we have the number of open deviations, the number issued per month, and then the average age of deviation. So again, all of that information that may be in multiple systems is now maintained within one, and it's all interrelated to your study. If we look at the deviations, we can build some queries on our deviations. In this case, we have deviations by study, because we have a table of all the deviations, and we can pick our study. Now we have a table of all the deviations, and we can look at the deviation details. So if we open it up, we can look at the deviation. We can also look at the review of the deviation, as well as the deviation impact assessment, that it did not impact the study. That's looking at a specific deviation. We can also create some reports on deviations. So we can look at deviations by study and type. And again, these are just configuration reports. So here we have 14 protocol deviations and 3 SOP deviations. You can then generate the fields that you want for the report and put this report right into your final protocol or your final study report. That same information, we can do deviations by type. So how many protocol and how many as a percentage. So there's multiple ways of reporting the data that's maintained within the system. If we look at our IACOOK module and animal inventory, here we can create, just looking at some of the reports, we have the ability to create a USDA pain category report. So again, we have species and then pain category, and we also get a nice pie chart on that information. So again, there's a lot of capabilities of the system. Some of these are built-in configurations, but again, the uniqueness of Labwise is that we can work with individual customers. Instead of trying to fit your business process into a piece of software, we can configure this platform to meet your process. So some of these are, example processes based on my experience in the industry and some customers. Some of them are just initial configurations as well. Within document management, you have everything contained within one folder. So here we have one study. Within that, you can have your final report. You can have your send data set, your protocol and amendments. There's also a sponsor portal. So you can have external customers have a user ID where they can log in and they would only see the information that you make available in this folder. So from a CRO perspective, you can put your data reports or any documents into a specific folder, send them an email notification through the system, letting them know that there's documents for them to review. Again, the system is fully integrated with email. It's web-based, so it's portable, iPad, iPhone. There's a unique mobile interface. The mobile interface mostly focuses on the functionality contained here, where you can complete your processes and you can launch and look at documents. A lot of the more administrative functionality is best served through this interface. So we have process statistics, we have our study reports, a protocol automation, and again, we can look at the entire list of studies, and then we can just filter them by the state and status. So here we can see all the studies that we have animals ordered for, ones that we've initiated the draft protocol, some that we've assigned staff. We have a bunch of new studies. We have studies that have been totally approved, studies that need to be assigned to a site. You can also put in financial information. So if we look at this one, we can add additional data fields based on what your needs are. So besides the master schedule, which is the GLP required field, additional protocol details, we can enter report details. So you can write your summary toxicity. Instead of creating a new Word document and re-entering all of the information that's contained on the first two tabs, we can generate an automated report. So again, we have the ability to map to your template. So here we have a study report. So we'll click on this one, and this will pre-populate a Word template, my final report. So all the information coming, again, the blue text, right from Labwise. And my table of contents, we have the mapping. We just need to update our tables, and it'll pull in the species and strain. So as we go through, again, everything in blue is pre-populated. Because you have the audit functionality, we can populate your QA, quality assurance units, compliance statement, and inspection record. And I'll show you an example of an audit record as well. Again, everything in blue, the compound, the species, the doses, is all pre-populated in all of the tables, so you don't have to re-enter that. Then when we look at the toxicity section, that's all pre-written. So now you can then load this into document management and send it through your review process, and then manage that in a version control environment. So this would be the way to create your first draft protocol. Because we have our audits linked in, we have on our study level, we have a QA statement report. So again, here we're pulling in all of the audit information for this specific study. So again, we have the study protocol number, the title, the substance, the study director, study initiation date, and then all of the audits, the start dates of the audits, the end dates of the audits, and the status of the audits. Again, the first audit was canceled, the next two were completed. Again, we can configure this to any of your current reporting requirements, but we did create some out of the box. So if you wanted to just use this, we would replace your company name with your company logo, and we can also change the text right here to whatever text you want, and then we already have the form configured. Otherwise, we can work with you to configure a specific form for your needs. We also have a management report, which has more information which may be used internally to provide to management. So this one, again, has the same information. It has the audit information, but this one will have the findings, the audited elements, and the status of the findings, and then any CAPAs or nonconformances associated to the findings. And again, we can put additional information or remove information from this report based on configuration and customer needs. But we did create, some of the standard study and GLP required documents. The system has a competency module, so we can do training, we can create training records, we can create job roles, courses, and competencies, and we can create training records and training activities. So again, we can manage your training, your quality, your compliance, your studies. Some of the built-in modules of the system are equipment. So within our equipment, we can register equipment, you can categorize it, you can enter the brand, the model, the serial number, resource personnel that are responsible for it, the location, supplier, documents, so we can eliminate the majority of the paper in your facility. So we can put the electronic user guide right into the equipment. You have some more fields, purchase date, warranty date, number of hours of use, and we can also then create a configuration to do maintenance and calibration on the equipment. As you see here, if there's an audit of that piece of equipment, any audit findings will be linked to that specific piece of equipment. So for facility audits, which may not be directly related to a study, you could then have those findings linked to the various components of your facility that have been audited. We also have a location structure, which you can create locations. So you can have sites, buildings. Within buildings, you can have rooms. And within there, you can enter information about properties of that as well. So the type of location, the address, phone number, and notes about a location. So if you're looking for storing things, archives, you can create building 1, room 6, cabinet A, shelf 3. And then you can link all of documents, samples, tissues that are maintained within that location. Again, by doing that, you can then look at the data based on location. So again, here we have an administrative site as to where the study is being conducted. We also have employees. Again, employees could be different than users. So with your employees, you have all of the information about the employee, email, the supervisor, their positions, birth date, gender. So again, all of the information that's contained in an HR system, the system comes with out of the box. So it can be any of the functional components that a laboratory would need. These are just out of the box features. So part of the thing that Kevin said, it's meant to manage your entire laboratory operations. It's not specific to preclinical studies or GLP environment. It can be any environment, any laboratory that would have a compliance component. Within the compliance, we have audits, findings, your actions, your CAPAs, competency. These are, again, preclinical configurations, the IACUC and the study registry. but we can create additional modules based on your needs as well. Kevin, I think I covered everything within the system that we wanted to in the overview.
Definitely, Tom, I appreciate that. And what I'll do is let me go ahead and bring the presentation back here. And we will get to a couple of quick conclusions here. And we'll certainly open up the floor to questions if there are any. So definitely, from our perspective, we see this type of deployment as a breakthrough in business process management for labs. The flexibility, the configuration, the ability to tailor this to the needs of a specific lab for a wide variety of applications, we believe is very unique as well. Integration with some of the powerful tools that Xybion's had on the market for 30 plus years, like Pristima, and the newer analytical tools like Savant, is obviously compelling as well. Obviously, we asked a question if some of the stuff that you've seen today is compelling to you. There's some obvious things that we can do and offer. Number one is a much more extensive look at the platform itself relative to any unique needs that you may have. We mentioned in the beginning the variety of modules that exist inside of Labwise, and we really only kind of scratched the surface on those. So if there's direct questions for Tom, you're welcome to reach out. This is Tom's contact information as well. If there's interest in seeing a broader perspective of Labwise, or perhaps more of a customized demonstration of Labwise, we're welcome to set that up as well. You can reach out directly to the sales team here, and somebody, appropriate person, would pick that up and put you in touch with the right people. I'll check really quick. I didn't see a lot of questions on the floor, so I think we're okay with that, but we did have one on average: what % savings have clients experienced with this software? I think that's a great question, and it varies widely depending on what was in place in the beginning and if they were running exclusively on maintenance. But I mean, you could basically look at, if you look at the overall IT budget of a laboratory, you could see savings of 20 to 30% on applications, and particularly on maintenance. Maintenance is oftentimes where the price creeps up, especially over the life cycle of a software application, because what you're doing with, obviously, with Labwise is you're reducing the amount of maintenance, software maintenance payments from however many applications you have to a fewer number based on how many applications you replace with Labwise. But great question, appreciate that. And we'll check again here real quick. And I think we are free and clear on questions, Tom, but obviously if anybody thinks of anything after the fact, you're welcome to put that through to either Tom or to the sales team, and we will get back with you, obviously, very quickly. Be on the lookout for the video, be on the lookout for the PDF of the deck itself. With that, Tom, I want to thank you for preparing a great demonstration today. I think you covered off on some of the more unique and compelling parts of Labwise. And then also thank everybody for affording us 44 minutes of your time today. We hope you found it useful, and we hope to be talking to you again in the near future. With that, today's session is complete, and we hope everybody has a great afternoon. Thanks again, Tom.
Thank you.